Hi guys, welcome back. So it was a roller coaster ride because yesterday it was the news of Omicron, saying many countries had a dramatic increase of cases. That's why there was a huge dive in the pretty much across all the index, right? But weirdly, if it was really because of the Omicron, then why were the airlines up instead of diving dip again, right? So it really looks like it's the Wall Street using the news to scare retail investors off. Quite manipulative. I think it was the chance for them to move between sectors, like for example from the previous hot sectors like the big techs like Apple, Nvidia, the ones that had previously run up, and switch it to the ones that have been long corrected, like the recovery, for example. So it seems like these few days roller coaster was really for probably the big dogs to adjust their portfolio before the end of the year. That's why yesterday there was a huge gap down and sell off for the S&P 500, and today there was a huge gap up and recover all the loss from yesterday. So there is a chance that the big dogs are shaking off up and down a lot, making it so shaky to shake off the retail investors, probably preparing for the Santa Claus rally, right? So right now we are a little bit near the resistance, around 465. That is why maybe we can have some of the pullback or more shaking. Statistics show that the Santa Claus rally usually is right after the Christmas, maybe starting for the last few trading days in December and the first few in January. So in that case, it could be still volatile, shaking up and down towards the end of the week. Throughout the whole time, if you remember, my target for Russell 2000 is between 208 to 210. A few times I use this indicator to buy in the dip, and it usually gets supported. And this time is no exception. Yesterday it got to the lowest of 208 and had a strong bounce back up. I think Russell 2000 would actually outperform the big techs for the year of 2022. So if you also believe that, you can put this in one of your list. And if you really believe it, then you can also consider TNA. This is an ETF for Russell 2000, but it's triple, so much more volatile, much more return, much more risk. Yesterday I put a buy-in order at 210, hoping it would have another last dip before the rebound, but after that I didn't check again and it took off right away today. So at this point I won't buy at the resistance, but maybe if it can pull back to, let's say, 212, I would try to buy in again. Or if it can break out the 220 resistance, which was the high of last Thursday, then I think it's more risk off and I would consider buying it again. Now, in terms of Chinese stocks, probably you're wondering, is the sell-off for the Chinese stocks or HSI finished? Well, I think I have good news for you. So, recently it was very bad sell-off. A few weeks ago, I said that I think Chinese stocks would have another last shake that is much deeper and quicker. So here it is. And I also said at the end of November that if KWEB break this purple trend line, it would have a much bigger sell-off. So you can see what happened after that was quite a big sell-off. Let's zoom out the HSI. Now, if you remember, I said this time the fall in 2021 looks very similar with the fall back in 2018. It was the beginning of US and China relationship getting worse and worse with the trade war. There were a lot of fear, just like right now. So the pattern looks surprisingly similar between these two time frames, right? So this is 2021 and this is 2018. They look very similar. First, it was the strong run-off to peak here, same thing. And then a very deep pullback and consolidation on the side. Same thing here, deep pullback and consolidate on the side for a few months until it break out downwards. And same thing here. And after the breakout downwards, it was falling with a wedge pattern, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And similar here, in 2021. Very similar wedge pattern. And then doing this 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times exactly. And then in the end, it was the last time, the 4th time here, that it really did speed up to go downwards and break this downward trend line. Just like what we had just experienced for the last 1 month. They really look almost identical. Now the best part is, if I go to here, I zoom in, and I take the peak from the last wave and drag it down to the bottom, you can see that it dropped 22 bars. So 22 days with the fall of 12%. Now we go back to right now and we do the same thing. Take the last peak of the November and then connect to the lowest here. So you can see it's 24 bars and also 12%. It is exactly the same, almost identical movement. So it was the bottom at that time, and after that it had a very nice run up. So this is good news for you, that we might really see the actual final bottom. There is hope, okay? Now if we open the monthly chart, remember this red bar, the red trend line that I drew before? I insisted that every time it touched this trend line, it is a great opportunity. So it's kind of like a once in a 10 years opportunity. Like in COVID, the 2015 crash, the 2008 financial crash, and this time we are exactly touching this trend line. So this seems like really a golden opportunity. It is not often you see it touch this trend line. I still believe that next year the Chinese stocks will outperform the US stocks, especially the big techs that have been running off quite strong this year. Right now, the Fed needs to taper and plan on increasing interest rates. It is the opposite for China. The Chinese government would continue the QE because they have been tightening for the year of 2021. So I think it would boost the stock market. The best might be the Shanghai Composite. I think the Shanghai Composite would have the most benefit from that. So I am quite bullish on the Shanghai Composite in the year of 2021. Actually, the rally has already started. The stocks I own in the mainland market have been doing very well recently, and I think it would continue in next year. However, the EV sector recently is under a little bit pressure because it's doing a little pullback after a strong run up in 2021. It was actually the only sector saving all the index, so then it's not a total loss. In a bear market, the EV had been holding very strong throughout the year. Some of the leaders like CATL and BYD have been making higher highs, doubling from the low. So it's normal for them to pull back. But once they finish the correction, I believe they would pick up the pace again and have a good run continuing for the next few years. Same thing with the CATL, it's the leader of the EV sector. So you can see it just dropped below the 60 moving average. The EV correction would explain why the EV stocks took a bigger hit recently, but it has nothing to do with the fundamentals, so it shouldn't affect how you believe the company you own. So I believe when the EV sector finish correction, I think our baby NIO would do just fine, okay? It's not because it falls that means the company is going worse and worse. Sometimes the stock price really goes the opposite way as the company's fundamental. If you remember my previous video, I said that the HSI or Chinese stocks won't bottom until those stocks that had not fall finally. They need to follow the rest of the sectors, rest of the stocks. Like I gave examples of Meituan and JD. I said they have been making higher highs and higher lows during this bear market, and they need to follow the flow and make the fall so most people can completely lose faith. And then the Chinese stocks might have hope to turn around. And same thing goes to the EV as well, because they were holding strong. So they need to make the last fall for the market to be destroyed. So we can see hope again. So you can see what happened to Meituan. It broke the uptrend and had quite a bit sell off. And similar with JD.com, you can see it also broke the higher high and higher low uptrend and has been making quite a little correction there. So that means what needs to be done has been done. Okay, I hope this can cheer you up and give you a little bit more hope. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, please give me a big like and write me a great comment, and I'll see you in my next video. That's it, guys. Hope you can find my videos helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a big like. Thank you.